Hey everybody, Jillian here with a brand new journaling process video. Today I'm going to be working through session 4 of Revival Camp, and it's the Heart Devotional written by LaQuisha Hall. And I'm just giving you a flip through here of the first 3 entries that I've done, and then I'm going to go ahead and start getting my book ready for the 4th. So what I've been doing is taping 2 of these Traveler's Notebook insert to journal pages together to kind of bulk up the page, and because I personally will not use all of the pages that are in this size notebook. And in case you're wondering, this is the add-on journal that comes with the devotional kit from DaySpring. I've got it linked below if you want to check it out. Another thing that I've been doing for every entry is using a bit of the kit's washi tape and putting it off onto the edge of the left page, and then just flipping it over and trimming off the excess. The devotional paper that comes in the devotional kit is a bit smaller than this paper, and so it's like just having the pop of green washi tape peek out from behind the devotional. And then I think it will be fun for the remaining 2 kits that will come out in the future to do the same thing with them and see how the washi tape changes and to know like which session was from which kit. So in my unboxing video, I pulled out my trail mix, that's where these buttons are from, and I was so inspired by the color combination, I thought, oh man, it would be really fun to create an entry just based on these colors, and so that's what I'm going to do today. And I saw the perfect print and pray release this past week to go ahead and do that. It's this set from Abigail Clone, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'll list it on the bottom of the screen. So that included all of the colors of my buttons in the trail mix that I got with my devotional kit, and it was just a no-brainer. So I'm kind of doing things out of order here. I'm stamping down the badge that I plan to use for today's entry. This is a layered badge stamp set that's included with the devotional kit. And then I realized, why am I doing this right now? I want to go ahead and start on the foundation of my entry today. And so I had talked earlier about using this Kaisercraft stencil. It's called the Tribal Stencil. I'll link it below. And I didn't get to use it for the very first entry that I wanted to, and so I remembered to go ahead and use it today. I'm going to mix it with some black acrylic paint because I want it to be black, and I used way too much acrylic paint for this. I probably used that much because I didn't want the texture paste that I'm going to run through the stencil with my palette knife to be like a gray color, which has happened to me in the past. But unfortunately, I just used way too much paint. So if you decide to go this route, just use less paint or slowly add it. So I'm just going to scrape the now black texture paste through the stencil with a palette knife, and I'm not using much. I'm going to put it in 3 places on the page to create a little visual triangle, and you can see here it got a little gloppy. It was too thin and it just got underneath the stencil, but it's no big deal. I can easily cover that up. These 3 spots are going to be like an anchor for the clusters that I plan to add to my entry. And so if you watched my first process video, the explore process, I had a similar setup in my notebook, and for this one, I just inverted the triangle. So if you want to go back and check out that page, I'll link the video for you. I'm just using a baby wipe here to clean my stencil and the palette knife. It's important to clean up the texture paste right away because it will harden as it dries, and it'll make it very difficult to use your tools later on. But I got a little too excited cleaning the stencil and bent a little bit of it. It's not a big deal, but maybe handle with a little more care. I'm going to hit that with my heat tool to help speed up the drying process. It dries pretty quickly, and I'm going to hit it from the back too. And you can see I got some like overspray almost onto the back side of the page. It's no problem, again, because I'm gluing 2 pages together for each entry. So I zoomed in a little bit here, and then I'm going to go into Abigail's printable set. And there's a devotional that's included with this. I just didn't use it for this page. But you get 3 pages of content when you pick this up from the Print and Pray shop. So I'm just going to go through and pick out the things I think I want to use that match the color of those buttons that are at the top of the frame. And now that I've got those guys fussy cut, I'm going to just see where I want them on the page. So you can see that like really gloppy part up at the top gets covered up pretty quickly when I start layering the papers on top of it. I've been using these rainbow grid labels from Elaine Davis. They're also available in the Print and Pray shop, and I love these because they are the colors of the Revival camp kits. And so I've used these on every single entry so far. And I wanted to mention, I just printed all of the printables on white cardstock. No sticker paper for me today. And I'm just going to go ahead and build one cluster at a time, starting at the top and then working my way down the page. Now, off camera, I prepped these buttons a little bit. I put some string in the holes to kind of give them a look of being sewn on the page without having to sew them on the page, and I used some twine throughout the holes there, and then I used some red line tape and put that on the back of each button, so it's got a super strong adhesive on the back of each button. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my badge element here, and then I realized I didn't stamp the word on top of it, so I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly. I found that to get a look that I like personally on these layered badges is to stamp the badge in a lighter color, and then you can go over it you can stamp the word down with like a darker ink and the word is still legible. That's just my preference. I've seen other people use these in really interesting ways. Now, a few of the sentiments from this stamp set come directly from LaQuisha's wonderful devotional, like this one that says Heartbeat for God, so I wanted to make sure to stamp that on my page, and so the label worked out great. It fit wonderfully, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that button back, and then start working on my cluster here in the middle. I love this dream catcher that Abigail included in her set. It's got all of the colors that I wanted to use today, and it's really the focal point of this entry after all my journaling. And then I'm going to look to the Studio Calico cork arrows just to embellish the clusters a little bit and bring in some of that cork element. Then I moved my attention down to the bottom, and again I'm just layering Abigail's printables underneath one of these labels. And then I'm making sure to leave a little bit of the stencil peeking out from underneath. So just a lot of repetition here, you know, working on one cluster at a time, starting with the label, the printables, and then topping it off with a button and a cork arrow. And these arrows, like I said, are from Studio Calico, and at the moment they're on super sale. I think for that whole sheet I paid $1.25. So if you're interested in picking them up, I'll go ahead and link them below also. I really like this sentiment in the stamp set that says tugging on my heart. I thought about stamping it on the bottom of the page, but it didn't take up enough room. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it above the dream catcher. So now I'm looking to LaQuisha's devotional here, all about heart, and I had underlined a few things that I wanted to kind of pull out of it and really think about, and I'm basically just quoting her in my journaling here. She shares a bit of her story at the beginning. It's very touching. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I really want to encourage you guys to check it out for yourself. And I also just want to remind you that you don't need to have purchased the devotional kits to be able to get the devotional content. So that's all available for free on the Illustrated Faith website, and I'll go ahead and link that down below in the video description for you. And then she asks a few great questions to wrap it up. I may be able to stretch out another entry from this devotional just simply based on those great reflective questions that she gives us at the end of her devotional. I thought about using my Studio Calico Mega Date stamp here at the bottom, but it was a little too big and I didn't want to, you know, find that out the hard way, so I just looked to my regular itty bitty date stamp and stamped it a few times at the label on the bottom, and that is going to do it for me. Here's a finished look at my entry along with a couple of close-ups. I've got all of the supplies I used linked in the video description below. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. I love hearing from you. You are such sweethearts, and I love making these videos for you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.